I first started to lose my hearing when I was a young adult in my 20s, and the hearing loss became progressively worse over the next couple of decades. In due course, I'd only got hearing left in one ear, and when that started to go, life became a real struggle. Eventually, that ear packed up too, and I was left with absolutely no hearing at all, at which point I was referred for a cochlear implant. And of course, that was the only chance I had of ever hearing anything again. So I seized the opportunity. And at long last, after about 10 months of complete silence, I had the operation. And in fact, I was really pleased how painless and easy that was. They were marvellous in Southampton General Hospital, and I recovered very quickly. And it then was a case of just waiting a very long month for the implant to be switched on. I do remember a feeling of waiting for my exam results, the excitement and anticipation, but being slightly nervous too when the day came that the implant was to be turned on. And it was the most fantastic feeling when it was first switched on. Within an hour, I could begin to make sense of words and sounds, and within 24 hours, even though at first they only switch on a few channels of your implant, I could begin to have conversations that made sense. And the feeling of being able to hear sound again was absolutely marvellous. I do remember realising that I'd got to work quite hard to retrain my brain to hear properly, and that it would be a learning curve again, learning to hear with this implant. And one memory I have very strongly is of within the first 48 hours getting up on a Saturday morning and going down to the kitchen where my husband was already cooking some breakfast. And in the kitchen, there was a very strange sound, and I couldn't identify what's that noise. And of course, my husband couldn't tell me because he didn't know what I was hearing. And it turned out that at that time, he was frying an egg for his breakfast, and the sound I was hearing was the sizzle, pop, crack, psst of the frying pan, of the egg in the frying pan. And that was the first time I'd heard that frying sound for decades. And thereafter I stood by the stove with my ear to the frying pan for several days afterwards for the sheer joy of hearing the sound of frying. And that's the sort of sound that I had to relearn. And it's been a wonderful journey ever since. Obviously, being able to chat to people, sitting around a table with family and friends and joining in the conversation. So many environmental sounds that are so pleasurable because they connect you to the world. So leaves rustling on the trees, dogs barking, just the wealth of environmental sounds, bird song, the sheer pleasure of being able to tune into a sound and listen and enjoy it. And so now, 18 months after my implant was switched on, I can use the telephone, I can listen to the radio and probably hear most of what's spoken. This summer I enjoyed hearing for the very first time in years and years a skylark singing in the sky, and these sounds are so pleasurable and so joyful, that I think it would be honest to say that it's transformed my life having this cochlear implant. Of course, things aren't perfect, and I still think of myself as a deaf person, but it is so much better. It's enabled me to reconnect with life, and one of my very old friends sums it up, I think, in our somewhat heated discussions about Brexit. And he looked at me and he said, "It's good to have you back, Jules." And I think that's what it is. It brings back your life, your self-confidence, your ability to connect with the world. And so it's been a great success for me to enjoy a cochlear implant. I'd recommend it to anybody.